I would ask Michal from Microsoft. Please, Michal. Yes. This session is under Chatham House rules. If you're not aware, this session, please, is please do not quote. You're asked not to quote. You can listen. You can think about it, but please do not refer to it externally. This is our request from you. This one, this upcoming. Okay, Michal, please, do you want to present your?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. It's very nice to be here this morning, and thank you, Gabi. Okay. By the way, where they're going to have my slides? Okay, it's okay. I can start without them. Excuse me? No, you have it on your computer. Okay, I will start anyway. Can you hear me without the mic? Okay, so I'm Michal Braverman Blumenstyk, currently at Microsoft, the general manager of the Cybersecurity in Azure. And actually, you can hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, great. Okay. So I'm Michal, with the longest last name, Braverman Blumenstyk, general manager of Cybersecurity in Azure. Actually just joined Microsoft a couple of months ago. Before that, I was the general manager of RSA Israel, which actually emerged from a startup called Sayota. We were acquired by RSA by the beginning of 2006. Sayota was the first company actually in the industry, in the global industry, that specialized in a multi-layer approach to cyber, specifically in cyber fraud. Okay, good. And risk-based analytics, etc. You might know Sayota because Naftali Bennett, right now the Minister of Economy, was the CEO. I was there responsible for R&D and product management, all the anti-fraud command operations. And after RSA acquired us in the beginning of 2006, Naftali Bennett went to the politics, and I became the general manager. And we grew quite a lot during my tenure. We grew from 80 people in Israel to more than 400, and in terms of revenues from 8 million to almost 200 million. And we became the second largest product line in RSA and the leaders of cyber in RSA. And a couple of months ago, I decided to leave to Microsoft. Microsoft wanted me to go to Redmond, and actually Satya Nadella, who interviewed me, he wasn't the CEO at the time, it was in September, so it was right before he was the CEO, and I explained to him why, even though it's easier to be in Redmond, but everybody is there, however, to do cyber, it really makes sense to do it in Israel, because Israel is really the perfect storm in the positive way to do cybersecurity. And Satya was convinced, and therefore I'm doing this global job from Israel. I'm very passionate about fighting cybercrime. I think it's a fascinating field. It's involved many technologies, state-of-the-art technologies, which I will review. But it really, you need you need to think in a holistic view. It's not just enough to think in a point product. It's not just enough to look at the square of the problem. You really have to look at it from many angles and many dimensions. And it makes it very demanding technologically, but not only technologically. And why I think the perfect place, or one of the perfect places to do cybersecurity in Israel, because we have an ecosystem which doesn't exist in any other place. First of all, we have obviously the military background that a lot of the people are here in the audience, and a lot of the people that work for me, and I was in those units in the army, and so we have the army. We have the industry. we have a unique combination of the industry that both big companies, international companies that do here cybersecurity, but we have unbelievable number of startups in this domain. So this is the industry angle. And we have also the academia. You need a lot of predictive analytics, machine learning, which in Israel we are very strong. And in addition to the army, we also have the government that also promotes research and activities in cyber. Therefore, we really have that unique capability and unique ecosystem, and it doesn't make sense for an international company like Microsoft not to invest in cyber in Israel. And Satya was convinced, so here I am with the team in Israel, but a global team. Yes, it means I have to travel a lot to Redmond, but I already got cured from jet lag, so I'm okay. Okay, so first let's look, so what is cyber? And I'm talking about a little bit about the cyber ecosystem. I'm going to start the commercial cyber ecosystem. But this is horizontal structure. We do have vertical. Now I'm talking about the cybercrime, not the cybersecurity. So the cybercrime is very organized and very specialized. So what do we have in the cybercrime ecosystem? So first we have the technologists, the people that develop software. I'm a technologist. I was in the PhD program in Columbia University. So those were not my peers, but they went to other institutes in order to get their technical training, and they developed very good and very sophisticated software. The problem, they're doing it for the wrong side, whether it's the commercial part or whether it's the state part, but they are very good developers. Then we have the harvesters, the people that are using those tools in order to collect credentials, whether it's credentials that are used to break into the banks, into commercial institutes, or whether it's credentials that are used in order to break into state institutes or into the army. And many times the borders are quite blurred. For example, I saw a case where a financial Trojan infected someone that is working in a very secret institute in the US. And that Trojan infected this guy, not because he was working at that institute, because they wanted to steal money from him. However, once they understand that where this guy is working, and for the people who know, I just will say that the first letter of that institute starts with S. His credential became very valuable in the black market to sell it in order to do a spear phishing attack, in order to penetrate that very sensitive and very secret U.S. facility. By the way, when my team found it, we worked with that U.S. facility on that case. So this is the harvesters. They're very similar, by the way, to units that we have in the Army in order to collect those information. Then we have the actual people who break. They know how to use the credentials, to use all the technologies. They are specializing in breaking into the institute. Then we also have another specialty in the cybercrime, people who give you services. For example, in the commercial field, when you steal money, you have to monetize it, so people will provide you services. When you steal a lot of information, you need a lot of storage. You need cloud to store it. So there is underground cloud that will serve you that. Also, there is very hectic commercial activity where all the credentials are, the people that develop the tools are selling it, the people that are getting the credentials are selling it, the people who are providing the services are selling it. So there is very hectic commercial activity, and they have conferences. Now, if we take that in mind, and again, this exists not only in the commercial field, this kind of horizontal specialties also exist in the state-sponsored crime or space-sponsored terrorism. There's different specialties. when we take that into account and the amount of data that is traveling at rest and in transit into the internet, we have a very difficult problem. Therefore, the solution to cybersecurity cannot be silver bullet, and it has to be multi-layer of defense. And we'll review that in a second. We need, in a sense, a new doctrine. We are in an inflection point now. And let's look at some of the axioms that we have to take into account. First of all, it's clear that breaches will not happen. No matter how strong we are going to defend, breaches will happen. It's, in some way, it's not sufficient to have a very good lock on your house. If someone wants to break in, they will break it. Regardless of the area, they will be able to break it. Therefore, spending a lot of money in just prevention, it's not enough. Second axiom is that the endpoints are contaminated. Even in the past, we thought that we can clean the endpoint and we'll just have the perfect antivirus, the perfect anti-malware, we will be okay. This is not true. It's clear to us we cannot do that. Endpoints are going to be contaminated. And endpoints, by the way, it's not just the laptop, it's all the mobile device and whatever, or your wearable device, it doesn't really matter. Whatever is the point that you're using to connect to the application of your liking. And security cannot slow the business. Not in the commercial and not also in the military and in the state. Because we cannot stop the internet. We cannot stop Facebook and we cannot stop LinkedIn. So with all that, we have to make sure that we provide efficient security, but we cannot go to a situation where everything was sterile. We cannot live in that world anymore. The next thing is that security is becoming a major differentiator, both in the commercial and also in the critical infrastructure arena. As a corollary, what I said that security cannot stop the business, security must be non-intrusive. It has to be very effective, but it cannot be such that it's not comfortable to use. This is without press, right? Okay. So, for example, tokens or hardware, second-factor authentication, which were very popular, their sales are declining now. And I came from a company that did it in the past. Why it's declining? Because the XYZ generation, and again, it doesn't matter if they are in the industry or in the government, they don't want to use stuff which inhibits their behavior. They don't want to carry extra stuff. And one more thing, BYOD will persist. We cannot go back to the old world where at the name of security, we could tell people, okay, this is how you connect to us. This is the only way we will behave. This is not the situation anymore. So, what is not working? And it's really interesting that if you look at the security, we'll review that in a second, but if you look at the security industry, we just look at this axiom, breaches cannot be prevented, right? However, 80% of security investment right now is in prevention. Only 20% is in detection and remediation. So it means that the security industry is operating very inefficiently right now, right? Because if we know the breaches cannot be prevented and we still invest so much in prevention, then something is wrong. And the security industry is currently realizing it. That's why the security industry right now, it's an inflection point. And if you also look at Gartner and IDC, they also support this point. And in few years, they predict that the trend will reverse. 80% of the investment will be done in prevention and remediation, in detection and remediation, and only 20% in prevention. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't need firewalls. It doesn't mean that we don't need endpoint detection. It doesn't mean that we don't need prevention. It just means that the total pie of security investment will grow so much that even though prevention expenses in absolute number are going to go up, but detection and remediation is going to be so much higher that the pie will reverse, and we are going to have 80% detection and only 20% prevention. So what do we need? And that's we still need that. We need perimeter defense. We need rules. We need, but we cannot have one size fits it all. We cannot have point products, and we cannot have what I call the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer autocracy. They cannot determine how the business, and the business, again, it's not just in the commercial, but it's also in the government. They cannot determine how we will do our business or how we will do the stuff that is important for us. So this is not working anymore. Again, we still need perimeters, we still need to defend the endpoint, but it's just not enough. Okay, so what we do need? Okay. We need, this we don't need, right? Because this means one size fits it all, and it's not efficient. Okay? So it's clear why it's not efficient. And by the way, not only is not only this security guy has a very high false positive, but at the time that he's checking this boy, maybe a terrorist is going behind. Okay. So what do we need? We really need a multi-layer approach. We need to rely heavily on big data and predictive analytics because there is a lot of information we have to look at. We need to be contextual awareness. We have to, of course, we need to do endpoint protection. They have to be much smarter than what we have now. We need to have actionable cyber intelligence. Cyber intelligence is very, very important. Like when you defend your country, if you don't have good intelligence, no matter how good your analyticals and tools, you are not going to do the job. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you have a great Air Force, but if you don't know where to attack, forget it. Information sharing is very important, and of course we have a very, very efficient SOC. And all of it has to go and work in unison. Okay? So this is just the overview, and now I would like to invite my my colleagues from the panel, okay? And I would like to introduce them. Okay, so I would like to start with Nadav Tzafrir. Nadav Tzafrir has 25 years of Army experience in a lot of very important units and intelligence. In his last job, he was the head of 8200, 8200. We can mention it because it's a closed room. And as I said, he has probably the most extensive Army experience and intelligence experience here. Then we have Nir Geist, who is the CEO of Nitron, a startup, very innovative startup, and also a lot of experience in cybersecurity. And lastly, last but not least, we have Dr. Ron Davidson, also from the Army, also Dr. Ron Davidson, also in 8200, and for the past 25 years is in Checkpoint and responsible for many of the most interesting activities of Checkpoint. So, Nadav, I would like you to start.